right, fam, let's start. This is how the blocks look. We have a matte shade, a shimmer shade, and a cool tone matte brown shade. I'm gonna start off by priming the lids with this Joa concealer and then blending it out with this Real Techniques brush. And I wanna show you some swatches just so you can see. Swatching the bone matte shade, the shimmer shade, and then the brown shade. Not bad. Getting this brush, grabbing the bone matte shade, and I'm just pressing it down, setting that concealer I just placed, doing pressing motions. Grabbing with my finger the champagne shimmer shade. I find that the finger grabs the shimmer shade a lot better, especially when the palette's new, and I'm just pressing it all over the lid. And I needed more umph, so I'm wetting my brush and tapping it into the shimmer shade and adding it on the lid because, I don't know, I needed more. It gave me a little more. And then grabbing this brush and doing a smoked out liner. I'm literally just following the lash line and pressing up, kind of like I would do a wing liner. And it's kind of messy. This part didn't have to be neat at all. And then, talking about neat, we're getting this small brush, getting very close to the lash line, and making it a little bit darker. I needed more darkness. Getting my micellar water in this brush. It's a lip brush. I'm just gonna clean that area up and it just makes it look better. Wetting my brush and dipping it back into the brown. Doing this, we're creating a liquid liner, so I'm just adding it closely to the lash line just so we have that dimension and that darkness. And I'm doing tapping motions on the lid. Yeah, that's exactly. Full face and everything, using my LA Girl nude liner. You guys know I love this thing. And then getting a flat brush again and hitting it very closely to the lower lash line. Keeping it super close because I wanted this look not to be buffed out too much. Talking about buffing out, we're getting the bone matte shade and just buffing it out so it's not too harsh or sharp. And this is it. This is look number one. Super easy. This is like a totally everyday look. And let's move on to look numero dos. All right, starting off with this P. Louise, we're gonna prime the lids. You know, the usual. I really like this P. Louise base because the consistency is very thin, but it makes shadows pop and last all day. Getting some tape, and we're gonna tape down on the edge of the eye so we have those sharp lines. Starting off with our matte bone shade, again using the same brush too. We're just tapping it and setting that primer. Getting this MAC brush, grabbing the dark brown shade, and we're gonna start outlining our crease. I'm kind of pressing and moving back and forth just so we have an idea, hitting it right on the crease and going slightly above the crease. So your eye, you can see that graphic situation going on. I'm just building it up and buffing it out, following the tape. Back in with our bone shade, buffing out those edges. Getting some matte setting spray, wetting our brush, creating that liquid liner we did in the other look. We're just gonna hit it closely to the lash line so we can get those areas super dark. And I'm keeping it only at the edge, you see? Back in with our first brush and just buffing all that out and making it a tad bit darker. Full face and everything, of course, super bright from LA Girl, hitting the waterline. This liner really makes your eyes pop. Back in with the brown shade, and again, keeping it super close to the lower lash line. And I'm only going halfway here. And this is it. This is look number two. The lipstick is from Maybelline. I'll have that one linked down below. And let's move on to the last look. It was hair washing day, so the hair looks real crazy, but back in with bone and setting that primer once again, the bone matte shade, you know. Grabbing a fluffy blending brush and the brown shade, we're just gonna buff it all over the crease. And I'm doing like tapping and buffing motion, and we're doing a triangular shape at the edge of the eye, really building that bad boy up. It was kind of patchy, but it gets better, Back in with our matte bone shade and getting rid of any harsh lines that we have. I always like to do this at the beginning because it's the easiest. Back in with our little brush from MAC, and we're gonna intensify that crease, make it darker, and smaller brushes will deposit more product. Therefore, you can get that dimension and that darkness going. Back in with our first shade, we were looking a little harsh. We gotta buff it out again. It's always a back and forth, you know? Again with the small brush, really trying to get those areas dark. And then we have to clean it up with some micellar water because I couldn't see the vision. I was losing it. And then I'm like, okay, we're back with our bone shade, blending the edges out. Getting some concealer and cleaning up that lid. I wanted you to see how the shimmer shade will work on the lid. And here I am buffing it out so that concealer lid is not too harsh. Placing the shimmer on the lid. Look how pretty it looks. It's super intense with some concealer placed down. So I really, really like how beautiful, like you can really see the champagne-ness of it, you know? Back in, you know, reinforcing our steps, getting those edges, making sure everything's buffed out well with our fluffy brush. Back in with our champagne shade. And then I needed a wing. You guys know I love me a good wing. I'm using my NARS Climax eyeliner, which is so good. I bought a new one and I love it. Full face and peinada. Back in with LA Girl liner, opening up those eyeballs. Back in with our small brush and the lower lash line. This time we're going all the way from the front to the edge, but keeping it close to the lower lash line. Getting the small brush and hitting it in the inner corner. I wanted the inner corner to pop today. Back in with our fluffy brush and just puffing it out, you know. And this is look number 3. Please let me know which one is your favorite look and do not leave because I do have an outro. See you in the outro. All right, fam. I don't know why I'm laughing, but I'm laughing because I'm running so late and I just need to, I hate being late. Like I'm that person that's not late. Not ever, but you know. Okay, anyway, you guys, this is it. This is look numero 3 using Maybelline's Shadow Blocks. Oh, this is the North 3rd and Bedford Avenue. I think it's so cute that they all have New York street names. When I first saw this, I'm like, okay, Kaja, it looks exactly like Kaja's, you know, sort of block makeup. But I'm like, okay, it's affordable. It's 10 bucks. We got 3 shades. I've told you guys before, I do like smaller palettes just because it's really helpful for people that are new to makeup, not to have so many options and just to kind of work with 3 basic shades. So I really, really like this concept. You can create a bunch of looks using only 3 shades. You don't need a whole big palette to create beautiful looks. As you guys saw, I created 3 looks. Fairly easy, I will say. The thing is, like any typical drugstore palette, you have to work it in order for you to get that full pigment. That first look I did, I felt like all the shades were super lacklustery. They weren't giving me that But then I thought, this is a drugstore palette, and that usually happens with drugstore makeup. You have to work it in 2-3 times. The 3rd time, today, I finally felt like, whoa, I'm getting the pigment that I was waiting for the last 2 looks. But that's common. It's not something that it's like, oh no, just because that happens, I'm not gonna use it. You go in there knowing that that's gonna happen. So after using it a few times, I'm like, okay, I like it. But at first, if I were to have done a first impression, I would have not liked it because it was very, very lackluster. And I was just kind of digging to try to get it going. But the good thing too is that the shadow look lasted all day. I'm gonna wear this one all day too, but I wore the other 2 all day and it looked pretty good. I think it's good for what it is. You get 3 shades for 10 bucks. You can create super simple looks with it, and it worked out. The idea is super cute. It's super easy, and it kind of keeps you in check. Like if you only want to use a shimmer, you got 1 shimmer, put it on your lid, do a wing or just curl your lashes, whatever, call it a day. I really like this matte. As light as it looks here, it goes on the lid a little bit darker, which was really, really nice. And it did set the lid very well because you guys saw with the lid primer I used and the concealer, I wouldn't set it with powder, I would just set it with this. And I felt like it set it really, really well. The shimmers or mattes don't really show texture, so I really, really like that. And the shades are very, very blendable. I felt like today this one was blending away and it was kind of giving me a patch, but I was able to pack it in really well. You guys saw with, where's my little brush? With this MAC brush, I was just able to pack it in and it worked out well. It was super fun to use. I have these two shades. Do you guys want to see 3 looks with each? I'm down to do it. It just will take a little bit more time because I'm also going to be working on another palette this week. So let me know your thoughts. Would I buy it again? I think I would, honestly, if I really want something super easy and on the go. If you're like running to the office and you just don't want to think about it, these are perfect because you literally have 3 options, you know? But yeah, this is it. I love you guys so much. Please let me know your thoughts on this. Have you picked these up? I only see them available at Amazon right now. I will link them down below. That's where I bought mine. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and spending a little bit of your day with me. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, click the button right there, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.